bless the United States of America.
That's amazing. Where is he?
The crowd booing here in Cleveland. Angry that there was no ringing endorsement from Ted Cruz. You just saw Donald Trump there walking through the crowd. He had come in for those final moments. Let's listen to his son.
Away from a company that he's deeply committed to in favor of running for elected office.
Furious.
Yeah, this is remarkable, and I think we should take a look, if we could, at the room, this arena. Charlie, Trish, this is incredible to have watched a man reach to literature to talk about a love of life and a life lived with love. He had the perfect moment to show love. He had the perfect moment to demonstrate those words, and he descended to a level of farce. It is remarkable. You know, he was grinning as he looked at the man. He was grinning just from those words.
Have you ever seen anything like that before?
I have never seen the likes of it.
To me, I've never seen a guy give, by content, an endorsement of a candidate, because most of those things that he was, basically rattling off.
He congratulated him, at least.
Is what Donald Trump is running on. Whether you agree with some of his crazy statements, the core message of what Donald Trump is saying was being articulated brilliantly by Cruz, and then he does a 180. And what was fascinating is that you almost thought when he did that 180, he was going to endorse
You kept thinking it was going to happen. Now, I had the embargoed comments here. I was looking through them. I mentioned to you early on as the speech began, he only mentions Donald Trump once when he said, I congratulate Donald Trump on winning the nomination last night. And that was the only time he mentioned him. And we kept thinking, well, he'll go off script. He'll go off script. There will be a moment. Here it comes. Here it comes. It never came.
He missed his
the
Reagan
crowd
moment.
Sensed that, and they turned on.
Trish, I'm sure Lou saw Ronald Reagan in 76.
1976.
I remember a little bit of it, but he missed his Reagan moment. Reagan sucked it up and said, the alternative is so much worse. You have to vote for Jerry Ford.
I truly believe that what you have seen with the entrance of Donald Trump at the very moment that he chose, entering with his thumb up, saying it's okay, and taking control of the room, because he did. As Ted Cruz stepped away from a podium where he was cheered roundly as he talked about freedom and talked about the principles that matter so much to this room.
It could have been an amazing speech. It was a good speech. He talked about a lot of the principles that people in this room embrace, but he just couldn't bring himself there.
We were talking about politicians being nasty. Is it possible, which I think it is, he's obviously he wants to lay claim to the head of the conservative movement.
No.
And this is what he wants, and he wants to be running.
What he did today was alienate even his supporters in this room. This man behaved in the most petty and petulant, and I have to tell you, to bring up those 5 police officers and then with a grin on his face and to manipulate this room suggests to me that a huge percentage of his supporters, let me finish, a huge percentage of his supporters just turned on this man.
He's duplicitous. Is he going to vote for Hillary Clinton? I mean, what is
Let me bring David Asman into the conversation as well, guys.
I think a lot of people don't care anymore what he does.
One of the complaints always about Ted Cruz is that Ted is out for himself only. Yeah. And he is always thinking ahead, calculating to what will help him the most at the next point in time. David Asman, we can tell you, I mean, the crowd was furious.
Well, there's another thing about Ted Cruz. He's not only always thinking about himself, and most politicians do that, but he has a nastiness that has been remarked on time and again by a lot of people from the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal. I'm talking about conservative people that have noted that quality that he tends to have. And when he turned to the New York delegation, once again, he gave a New York slam. Now, I'm a New Yorker, so I'm biased, but these slams that he gives, these very personal slams, when Donald Trump does it, he does it with a joke. He does it with a smile. When Ted Cruz does it, there's a nastiness about it that can't be avoided. Also, I just want to mention another thing. He followed Marco Rubio, who I thought gave a very graceful endorsement. That was a full-blown endorsement of Donald Trump, and he said it's time to end the bitterness of the campaign, and to follow Marco Rubio with that kind of nastiness just was totally inappropriate.
You know, Lou, you said that you thought a lot of his supporters would actually turn on him tonight.
I believe they will. You saw it in this room. There were people up here on this deck who had been cheering him, and they were sort of, as the realization crept across the crowd, you could see they didn't know what to make of it.
I was blown away by the 180. I thought, it was remarkable to me from a historic standpoint. Donald Trump invited him into the house.
Right. We should point that out.
And then
the reason he's here tonight was at the gracious invitation of Donald Trump, and no strings attached. No, looking at the screen.
You could have said, listen, we had a nasty campaign. He said some bad things, but the alternative, and by the way, if you're a Republican and you think the alternative is better than Donald Trump, then man, you better take that needle out of your arm immediately.
And all you care about is your own political career. You don't want him to win. Think about that, Charlie. Lou, right? You do not want him to win because you want to swoop in 2020.
Right, that's true. That's probably his thinking.
There's another part here. As he laid out the language of literature as he described it. You may have been watching a man who quite consciously was ending his political career. That's the only explanation, really, that I think is sensible.
Unless he's banking on Donald Trump imploding now in such a major way.
Guys,
That may be his